The shocking revelations that have recently come to light about Kandi Burruss and her family will leave you stunned. Known widely for her work in television, music, and as a thriving entrepreneur, Kandi shared something that few people had anticipated for years. To the outside world, Kandi and her husband Todd Tucker appeared to be the perfect couple. They seemed to manage their blended family with ease. Yet behind the scenes, life was far from flawless. In a candid interview, Kandi admitted that the demands of her family were unexpectedly weighing on her mental health. It wasn't just the everyday obstacles of running a household, there was something deeper. Much of it revolved around her connection with her daughter Riley, Todd and Riley, Kandi's daughter from a prior relationship, had never truly been able to form a strong bond. Riley never fully accepted Todd as a father figure. Even though Kandi made genuine efforts to merge the families together, tension persisted because Riley struggled to see him as anything more than just a stepfather. For Kandi, this became a tremendous challenge. All she longed for was peace between her daughter and her husband. But instead of healing, the distance only grew wider, leaving Kandi trapped in the middle. She opened up about how powerless this situation made her feel, as if she were losing control of the family harmony she'd been trying so desperately to maintain. When Kandi revealed that these unresolved conflicts at home were taking a toll on her mental health, the depth of her pain became clear. And this is where the story becomes even more compelling, because it wasn't only the strained relationship between Riley and Todd causing problems. There was another layer. Kandi also shared how exhausting it was to watch her daughter's tense dynamic with Todd's daughter, Kayla. The friction between the two girls only made matters worse. Not only did Riley and Todd clash, but Riley and Kayla also never managed to connect. They didn't develop the closeness Kandi had envisioned, which only added to the difficulties. Despite her hope that the two girls would grow closer over time, their differences deepened instead. What's more surprising is that after quietly observing all of this, Todd finally decided it was time to break his silence. Deeply concerned for Kandi's well-being and recognizing the strain these conflicts were putting on her, Todd resolved to step in for the sake of both their marriage and their family as a whole. After staying quiet for so long, he realized he couldn't continue watching Kandi struggle without intervening. He saw that this wasn't just about him and Riley, the bigger picture was at stake, the family they were all working to build together. And then came an even more unexpected twist. Todd chose not to sit idly by as the issues escalated. Instead, he made the bold move of addressing Riley directly, urging her to put aside the differences and help strengthen the family. Todd wasn't demanding that Riley accept him as her father. Rather, he encouraged her to focus on the importance of family unity and the power of mutual support. He expressed how much he cared for her, his desire for her happiness, and his hope for her success. His message was crystal clear. For Kandi's mental health and for the well-being of everyone, they needed to move forward together. It was time to finally let go of the past. Todd never intended to take anyone's place. What he truly wanted was for Riley to see him as a friend rather than as an opponent. But Todd didn't simply ask Riley to get along with him. That's what makes this story so unusual. Instead, he invited her to help find a solution. The family had reached a pivotal moment, one where things could either fall apart completely or finally start to heal. Todd's words carried the potential to shift everything. At this point, the question was clear: would Riley take steps toward healing, or would their ongoing tension continue to weigh down their bond? The emotional weight of this decision touched everyone, leaving them anxiously wondering what the next chapter would look like. People began asking, would Riley truly listen to Todd? Would the gap between them keep expanding, or would she at last accept him as a part of the family? And how would Kandi manage it all while still trying to protect her own fragile mental well-being? The drama was far from over. This was only the beginning. As time passed, both Kandi and Todd's supporters found themselves nervously waiting for Riley's response, and for the possibility of this family ever finding genuine peace. The stakes had never been higher, and everyone was on edge to see what would unfold. It was clear that this moment could set the tone for their relationship's future, as Todd's message to Riley echoed throughout the family. Yet it wasn't just Todd's words that left an impression. Kandi's reaction to everything happening also spoke volumes. For years, she had shouldered the weight of these family struggles. But now that Todd had voiced his perspective, she found herself caught in a difficult position. She didn't want her daughter to feel pressured or cornered. At the same time, she was utterly drained from constantly trying to manage the emotions of everyone around her. Kandi deeply wanted her daughter to have the chance to heal and move forward. Still, she knew Riley had to make that choice on her own. Kandi's love for Riley and her commitment to Todd were constantly colliding. She'd been juggling this balancing act for years, but now it felt like everything was on the verge of exploding. Even though she longed for harmony, the conflict between Riley and Todd couldn't simply vanish, especially with Kayla in the mix. The battle that had quietly simmered for years had only grown more complicated. Kandi admitted that the emotional burden had become so overwhelming that it was hard to even focus on her own happiness. With the cracks in the family so painfully obvious, she could no longer pretend that nothing was wrong. The most heartbreaking part of all this was how much it was harming Kandi's mental health. She confessed in the interview just how deeply these family tensions had affected her. She'd always been the glue holding everyone together, the force uniting the family. But now she was beginning to feel like she simply couldn't do it anymore. She even admitted that her physical health was beginning to suffer under the constant emotional pressure. Kandi was crumbling under the weight of trying to meet everyone's needs, manage their emotions, and live up to their expectations. And she knew if nothing changed, her mental health would continue to spiral downward. If she didn't take immediate steps to confront these problems, everything would spiral further out of control. This moment became a wake-up call for Kandi. She came to understand that no matter how much effort she put in, she couldn't handle everything on her own. After Todd's remarks, it finally sank in. Kandi could no longer carry the entire emotional burden by herself. At that point, the family needed to come together. This wasn't just about Riley and Todd. The entire household was on the line. Kandi had pushed her own well-being aside for so long while trying to hold everyone together. Now she faced an impossible choice. Should she keep fighting to preserve the image of a united family, or should she step back and prioritize her own mental health? No mother should ever be forced into such a painful decision. And Kandi wasn't the only one weighed down by the strain. Todd felt it too. His relationship with Riley had never been smooth. Her resistance made it nearly impossible for him to be fully supportive or step into a fatherly role. Even though Todd desperately wanted to make a positive difference in Riley's life, he couldn't break through the emotional walls she had built over the years. Now, with Kandi's mental health at stake, Todd was stuck in an even tougher position. He had to prove his loyalty to both Kandi and the family, yet at the same time, he didn't want Riley to view him as the enemy. He was ready to go to great lengths to fix things, even if it meant confronting the issues head-on and urging Riley to reconsider her stance. But what would happen next? Would Riley eventually open her heart and allow Todd a place in her family? Or would the tension in the household grow even worse as the divide between them deepened? And what about Kandi? In the midst of all this turmoil, would she be able to find peace for herself? The stakes were higher than they had ever been, and with each passing day, it became clear that the future of this blended family was hanging in the balance. What makes this story so gripping is how relatable it is. Trying to merge lives and build unity out of different backgrounds and experiences is a challenge many families face. Yet when love, loyalty, and mental health collide, the path to harmony is never simple. Even though Kandi's situation was unique, countless people could connect to the emotional struggle she was enduring. Ultimately, it came down to knowing when to ask for help, learning how to create something meaningful from broken pieces, and figuring out how to balance the love between a partner and children. The pressure kept mounting as the drama unfolded. With Riley and Todd's conflict unresolved, Kandi was still fighting to keep her family intact while protecting her own state of mind. What would be the breaking point? Time would provide the answer. But one truth was certain: every choice made from here on out would shape the family's destiny. As the tension escalated, everyone inside the household was left on edge, wondering what would happen next. The emotional weight became too heavy for Kandi to carry alone. She admitted as much. Riley's refusal continued, even after Todd had stepped forward and begged her to contribute to the family and open her heart. The household remained fragile, hanging by a thread, with no one willing to truly compromise. This realization forced Kandi to step back. She could no longer keep pushing toward a goal that might never be attainable. The truth stood right in front of her, no matter how much she craved harmony. The family was fractured in ways words alone could never repair. After years of trying to make everything right for others, she knew it was finally time to put herself first. This is where the story takes a turn. After remaining silent for so long, Riley finally spoke. Her words weren't dramatic or a grand gesture, but they were a breakthrough. Riley expressed a willingness to at least try. While she wasn't ready to fully embrace Todd as her father, she admitted that she was open to taking a step forward. She also acknowledged the pain that had been caused. Though it was a small gesture, it was still a hopeful one. For both Kandi and Todd, it felt like a glimmer of light. Riley faced a tough decision. Accepting Todd seemed almost like betraying her own feelings, since she had resisted him for so long. Yet she slowly began to understand that if she truly wanted to move on, she had to accept the reality of the situation. It wasn't about replacing her biological father, nothing could do that. Instead, it was about recognizing that Todd had a role in her life too, one that could strengthen the family without diminishing her love for her real father. Riley knew it wouldn't be easy, but she also understood that this step was necessary for her mother, for herself, and for the family as a whole. This became a defining moment. The solution wasn't perfect, but it was progress. For the first time, Todd and Kandi felt there was hope that their blended family could heal. Riley's willingness to try was no ultimate fix, but it was proof that even the smallest steps can carry the greatest meaning, and that real healing is always a process. Though it was just a small victory, Kandi and Todd were reminded that their efforts hadn't been wasted. There were still hurdles ahead, but this breakthrough brought them relief they hadn't felt in a long time. They began to see a path forward, even if it was far from perfect, one that hinted at the possibility that scars could, with love and understanding, eventually be healed. What stood out most in this story wasn't the conflict itself, but the family's resilience. Despite the struggles, the tension, and the pain, they didn't give up on one another. Kandi and Todd's commitment to building their family never wavered, even when things were messy. And Riley's choice to open her heart, even just a little, proved that recovery was possible even in the harshest of circumstances. Their journey is far from finished. More obstacles lie ahead, and harder conversations will still have to be faced. But for now, the family had taken a powerful step in the right direction. Todd and Kandi continue to strive for harmony, while Riley's willingness to try serves as a reminder that growth and understanding are always possible, even in the middle of deep family conflict. The story doesn't stop here. A new chapter is only beginning. What comes next? Will the healing process continue moving forward, or will new challenges rise up again? One thing is certain: Kandi, Todd, and Riley's journey is not yet over. Still, there is real hope that one day this family may find the peace they've been searching for, if they have the courage to face their struggles directly and the strength to keep moving forward. Their bond can survive. All we can do is watch as they continue navigating the hard road of healing, family, and love.